9. And this morning, too, like every other space that we have, we talk about the issues coming out of Nigeria, and we talk about Nigeria as an entity. For some people, it's a project. How long, have we gone with this project, and what has come out of this project? Few days, as some people would say, few weeks, Nigeria would be 60 years, of the life of a nation. And we would like to talk about what has come out in Nigeria today. Some people would say Nigeria with its problems. And some people will say again that the problem is certainly not with Nigerians. The problem is not with the weather of Nigeria. It's not with the environment of Nigeria. It's not with the natural resources of the country. What then could be the problem of Nigeria? Why has national integration evaded us? Why has unity, a thing, that in ourselves now, that with so much that we have, buried underground that we could use to, better the life or the lot of our people. Here we are with Nigeria, and there's so many cries coming out. Leadership, for some people, would play a serious problem, big problem here. And for some people, it's all about safer from national integration. Whereas the religion, ethnicity, and the divides of the people, how it has affected national integration, and of course, working for one good, and that's the good of Nigeria. Sharing thoughts with me on this matter, I have Honorable Ishaq Babatunde Gbadamosi Adigu. Is my guest this morning by phone. Is a politician, a man who had worked with the public service too, and of course, as a politician, he had worked through his party or by his party then, the SDP, to see to the successful a campaign of Sheyi Makinde of Oyo State, who is now the governor of the state. They had worked together to see to that. And Oyo State today could be a reference point for some people who talk about how governance is being done. So my guest by phone is in Abuja this morning, Honorable Ishaq Babatunde Gbadamosi Adigun, Iba, as he is known, is my guest this morning. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, Mr. Babi. How are you?
We're good, yeah. And yes, I just was giving a background there about the problem of Nigeria, and could we have quick fixes to these problems? And of course, how can we go about them? What has been taken out, for us, as a people, why we're not having this unity that we so crave for? Chino Achebe had written about Nigeria at one time. I said there was a country. There was a country. And just that, there was a country, comes with a lot of connotations, and so a lot of people too have said that the founding fathers of Nigeria may be disappointed with what is playing out now. Of course, military incursion too in Nigeria had played its part. But one thing that would be given to military incursion is that it has kept the unity of this country. Even when we went for the 67-70 war, the military kept the unity of this country. So one good point for the military in handling the affairs of the country. But again, we've had civilian rules. We're on with our democracy, 20 years still going. And of course, what has come out of all of that? By in a few days and weeks, we'll be celebrating Nigeria at 60. And then we compare to what countries we started these journeys with. When China celebrated its 70 years of a nation, we saw what came out there. And of course, we'll go back to the Asian tigers too, and how much they had done in bringing their country, or bringing the country to world map. Lee Kuan Yew is an example of what had happened in Asian, tiger. So for us, Nigeria, are we still far from the ocean on national integration? And of course, with what is bedeviling us as a nation today, corruption, insecurity, and of course unemployment, all that this administration, before it's before coming, had said that it was going to wipe away. But here we are, still with the story of Nigeria. Your thoughts on that? An overview.
Thank you very much, Mr. Choi. The state of the nation is very worrisome for somebody like me. I think we are having, just like some people have described, Nigeria is really at the brink. it's really unfortunate where we find ourselves. You said not too long ago that China celebrated 70 years of independence, and Nigeria, we are going to celebrate 60 in some few days' time. And really, we can't really put our finger on any concrete achievement or development in terms of the integration of our people, unity, security, sufficiency in food, and self-sufficiency for the country. All of this. And these are not due to any kind of lack in the area of manpower or the knowledge and the wherewithal to do what we ought to do. But the brain of our problem has always been the leadership of this country. And over the years, the leadership, take it from the beginning all the way to this time. The leadership of this country has not given us the good example of how to achieve what we really want to achieve. If we have a leadership that comes on board and has a vision to take this country to the next progressive level, what you get is before long, after that leadership is out, maybe after 4 years or 3 years or there is military rule, you have other leadership come in and they will now take the country in another direction. So at every point in time, the leadership starts from scratch and jettisoning whatever has been done in the past. And as a result of that, we remained a toddler at 60. Really unfortunate. I really wish I could see a Nigeria, or tell my children of a Nigeria that has improved beyond what I saw as a child. But what I saw as a child are even far better than what I'm seeing today. And it's saddened to tell my children that no, Nigeria was far better some years back, when it ought to be far better at this time. So I think the buck stops at the decks of the leadership of this country. And I want to believe strongly that until the leadership of this country takes responsibility for the failures and all that we have in this country, that is when we'll start making some meaningful progress in this country.
Nigeria is described as you described it, at 50, you're probably, saying that it could be seen as a toddler. Now, let's go back to the Nigeria, that we're talking about years back, and that's talking about, how Nigeria had played a role, how it had earned itself the big brother in Africa. The story of South Africa cannot be complete today without, the mention of Nigeria and how much it played, especially in those frontline states. Liberia, close to us today, would never forget Nigeria and how much role it played on the stability of that country, and so many things. Nigeria was also seen as, the big brother that, helped in stabilizing other African countries. And of course, for the world, Nigeria was seen as one nation that was coming out of the African continent that had potentials. But here we are with it. Leadership has been successive in Nigeria. But where did we go wrong with leadership, as you continued with it?
Let me say this. Nigeria ab initio, if you go to the history of this country, you see that the country was set up for failure ab initio. And my reason is that if you look at what gave birth to Nigeria, it was purely commercial. It wasn't anything about the political success or progress of the country. No, it was purely commercial. The colonial masters then, the British government then, were only looking at what is their gain in terms of the economy. What is their gain in terms of the market where to sell their goods and services. That was their interest. Their interest wasn't about the Nigerian nation to succeed. That is one. Secondly, our leadership has made Africa the centerpiece of its international relations, which is very good. And we have played that role very effectively over the years. But the problem is internally, we have not developed. Nigeria has achieved very great success over the years in the international front, especially on the African continent, achieving different, whether it's in the South African axis, with South Africa, with Zimbabwe, with Angola, with Democratic Republic of Congo, with Liberia or Sierra Leone, all of Sudan, all of these countries, just name them, we have participated actively and made meaningful contributions on the African continent. But at home, what of the problems we have really not been able to manage is the diversity of this country. The ethnic, the religious diversity of this country has been a very huge problem. And the leadership of this country has exploited it negatively against the people of the country. And as a result of that, that has really kept us in the position we are. Nigeria as a country has not achieved any meaningful progress. Let me give you a very interesting example. In the early 80s, you had industries, late 70s, early 80s, you had industries that manufacture or that assemble cars in Kaduna, in Lagos. You have industries that do a number of things. You have the textile industry in Kaduna, which was thriving. But today, how many of such industries are in existence? Most of them have left the country. What does that do to the economy of the country? The economy drops, people lose jobs, we don't produce, we rather spend our hard-earned cash foreign exchange to import all of those things back to the country when we want to buy or when we want to use them. So as a result of this, all of the cumulated negligence and exploitation of our ethnic and religious diversity by the politicians and the military during their time has made us to where we are today. And there is no way we can get rid of this problem until we address those issues. And the unfortunate part of it is that those problems we're talking about 20, 30, 40 years ago are still with us today. They are still with us. Our politicians are still exploiting them. They are still using them rather than use our diversity to bind us, our religious beliefs to bind us. The politicians are using this to divide us the more, which is the most unfortunate aspect of this.
One would have thought that diversity, our diversity, would be a source of strength. And I go by the old national anthem where we talked about though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Why have we not been able to exploit this, for the strength? America stands an example of diversity where we see, tribes of all other, countries of the world in America, and it's a source of strength for them. Why the difference in Nigeria?
The difference in Nigeria essentially is that we don't see the bigger picture. Most of our leaders, they chose to be regional leaders, ethnic champion and religious champion, rather than to look at the bigger picture of the Nigerian nation and look at how does this country become a country of its own. If we have been set up for failure from the beginning, why can't we say no, we will not fail. We need to make this country bind together. And this rests squarely for me on the leadership. The leadership must see the problem for what it is. We cannot afford to look at a problem like, let me give you an example. Look at the problem like the one that is happening in Zamfara State, in Katsina State, in Sokoto State, the banditry thing. We know what the problem is. We know these are criminalities, but we are treating them with kid gloves. The same thing is happening in southern Kaduna. You have places where people are being slaughtered and killed for one reason or the other, maybe religion, maybe ethnic. The government of these places, whether at the federal or at the state level, needs to stand up and be firm. Whoever has crossed the line with the law should be treated as the law prescribes. But this has not happened in any way. Tell me, how many people have been arrested among the bandits and prosecuted and sentenced to prison terms or maybe some kind of punishment? How many people have been arrested and sentenced for criminal offenses, maybe arson or anything that has happened in the past? None. We don't see any. So all of these tell people that you can do things and get away with it. And it also shows that our politicians are tacitly accepting the status quo. They tacitly approve of it. Even though they don't come out and say it, but their body language approves of it. And that is the unfortunate part of it. Nigerians continue to drift apart. They continue to say that we can't trust our leaders, and as a result, everybody is taking precautionary measures.
Well, again, looking at it, for how long can this hold? I mean, how long? If we talk about Nigeria at the brink, for how long can we go like this? And again, I bring you back to present leadership. For all it saw in the last administration, it said that it was going to correct all of that, but we see that the situation has not been what was expected. And so, I mean, the euphoria that we all had before the advent of this administration could just have fizzled out. For you now, is it just about the leadership? And when you talk about leadership, I'm trying to draw out from where you're coming out with leadership, because some people for now would say, let's go back to the old system, let's go back to our parliamentary system, let's review the constitution, and let's do a lot of fixing on what has gone wrong with us.
You see, one of the things that is cardinal, whether we like it or not, in fact, let me answer the question of how long can we hold this? I can tell you that this country cannot hold together for too long. That is the truth about it. People might deceive themselves and say everything is fine and rosy. That's self-deceit.
That's not sounding pessimistic in any way, right?
No, not at all. That is stating the obvious. That is stating it as it is. We cannot continue like this for too long. You see, as of today, we have radio stations that are not licensed in the country broadcasting, and they are broadcasting us all kind of messages. It's just like these were the things that happened just before the collapse of Rwanda, before the Rwanda genocide happened. These were the things that happened when you start having radio stations springing up and broadcasting all kind of messages all over the airwaves. I tell you, I'm in Abuja here, and I receive radio stations like Radio Biafra, and they are making all sorts of broadcasts. Now, these are dangerous signals. Okay? Now, you go to other places, be it the southeast, the south-south, the southwest, you see people promoting regional agenda, promoting, be it Odua, People's Congress, be it the Mossad, be it all of these things are being promoted all over the country. So it tells you that the earlier we take it seriously, the better for us. Or in a very short while, we might not have a nation called Nigeria anymore. And what is it that we can do? Facing the reality of this country worked very well under the regional system of government. And there is no way we can jettison that idea and just look away from it. We need to go back and take a look at the regional system. Let each region have autonomy to a great extent in terms of its economy, what it can do. Let all those things that the federal government hold on to in terms of what we call the exclusive list in the 1999 Constitution, let all those things be devolved to the regions. Let the regions handle a lot of those things. Then you get many Nigerians to work, you get the regions to be responsible, the center will become less attractive, people will not be killing themselves over anything, and then we'll be able to accept ourselves more as Nigerians. Because then I will know that if I put in my best, I will know that there's good result and good reward for what I have done. And not that when I put in my best, maybe in Lagos State, and I will not get whatever I think that is due to me. Maybe somebody I see in a Calabar or Cross River State that do not put as much as that is getting the fat part of the whole thing, and that will not encourage me. So we must look at going back to regional system of government. It is not a thing of whether we have a choice. That is the only choice that is there, and if the earlier we do it, the better for us.
Well, we're looking at a situation where here we are suspicious of each other. That's playing out now. And of course, in terms of national integration, we've seen what other past administrations have done. Even time of military, the NYC that we have today was all done as part of integration. And of course, the federal character is also coming in now. But again, all of these have been questioned about how these institutions were set up, and whether it had taken care of the needs of Nigeria, and whether Nigerians could really say that the federal character thing is working, or the NYSC as it is, and other institutions of government to really tie up this country and make for a national integration have worked. What is holding us back here, and what are the things, the pegs that are not allowing this to work?
Well, all of those efforts were in good faith, and I think to the extent of letting us know ourselves, NYC and other things like that, it seems to have worked to some extent, But when you have a people who look up to the development of their country, who look for leadership or show them the way to go, and they don't see it doesn't really matter the amount of integration you try to do. It doesn't really matter how much you try to send people from one place to another to integrate or intermarry and all of that. There will always be this feeling of suspicion. And I ask the question, why the suspicion really? What is the essence of the suspicion? Why am I being suspected to be somebody who is pro-Biafra? Or why am I being suspected to be somebody who is pro-Dua nation? The question is, have these people or this part of the country, have they gotten the fair part of this country? Have they been treated fairly? Have the majority of the people in this part of the country feel a sense of belonging to the country? Do the people of the Plateau, do the people of Taraba, do the people of Benue, do they feel that they have this sense of belonging? Do they feel that, yes, this country has committed a lot for me? Do they feel that because this country has committed so much for us, we must be part of this country? We feel obliged to integrate with this country. There must be all of that. If a people don't feel a sense of belonging in the system, if they feel isolated, if they feel that they have been shortchanged in any way, then there is no way you can have a nation you can have a nation that binds. The solution is simple. And the solution is that, first and foremost, the leadership of this country must show in its actions, in its utterances, in its body language, that nobody, no matter where you are from, is above the law. That is the first thing. And secondly, the resources of this country must be equitably shared amongst the people. Besides equitable sharing, the people from where the resources are coming must be given adequate consideration. The very instant you don't do this, there is no way you keep having people putting so much in the system and they are getting very little from it, and you tell them to be part of the country. They will feel a sense of not belonging to the system. And these are the problems. Until we start doing this, we must also reflect this in appointments to various federal offices, whether at the state level or at the national level. There must be a balance. Take for example, just like you mentioned earlier in your intro, the euphoria that greeted this administration has completely faded away over the years. Why? Because most of the people who even voted the government in see themselves as being outsiders now. We now have a situation where most of the appointments of the government is lopsided to one part of the country. You have a situation where you have X-men and bandits rampaging all over the country, and nobody is taking concrete action to check the trend. You have a situation where you have killings in all these areas, and economic activities have dropped and fallen down, and we are not seeing tangible effort to bring them back. Okay, then you have the issue of insensitivity on the part of the government. We're just coming out of the COVID-19 crisis, and then, just then, you have the increase in air price, you have the increase in electricity tariffs, and the inflation rate in the country has gone so high as at this morning is 13%. The unemployment rate is over 30% presently, and the government is in a dilemma of we don't have money to even fund most of these things. Now, how do we go about all of this? It tells you that there is a fundamental leadership crisis in the country. And until we're able to address that, and the first thing the leadership must do is to acknowledge the fact that there is a problem, rather than grandstand and attack all those who tell you what the situation is. Face the reality and deal with the problem. Call the people that you need to call. Get all the people that you need to help you fix the problem. To fix this problem, because these are not problems that cannot be solved. You need to solve this problem by building confidence, by your body language, by your utterances, by your appointments, and all of those things. And those are the things that will build and reinforce the confidence of Nigeria to integrate and unite.
Okay. Honorable Ishak Babatunde Gbadamosi Adigun Iba, a politician and a public affairs analyst. We'll have to go for a commercial break. We'll join you after the break.
Invicta FM. Invicta FM.
Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning, and we're looking at Nigeria and, of course, what is playing out. For some people, is looking at the state of the nation with Honorable Ishak Babatunde Gbadamosi Adigun Iba, a politician and public affairs analyst, sharing thoughts with us on that. Well, Honorable, yes, again, we go back to, where we've had democracy on for so long as it is today, and that's talking about America, the democracy that they passed on to us, and what we are doing with what we have with us today. A lot of people challenge our the democracy that we practice now, which by definition would be government of the people, by the people, for the people. But do we hold on to this? In any way, in matters of governance, are we holding to this? Hello? I'm just saying that maybe we'll take a cue from where we got our own democracy, saying that democracy states that it's government of the people, by the people, for the people. And of course, we took our own from America, the presidential system of government. But as democracy, as defined, is it in any way that we're practicing what we say is democracy here?
Right now,
I'm asking this question, let me say, because of for some people now, a lot of things have been introduced into what we're seeing now. The hate speech has come up. Some people talk about how free are we to shout and talk about issues of government, and some people will talk about the mind-boggling theft of public funds as we see it now, and what has been done to them. And we also you've talked about leadership, how leadership has been responsive to the yearnings of the people. How is all of this playing out?
I was actually going to those areas because if you look at the country where we copied our model of democracy from America, you see that there are a number of things that seems to be eroded in our crime, or maybe have been taken away, I would say. How do I mean? Take a look at, in a democracy, it is a fundamental right of the citizen to protest when they have grievances. Peaceful protest is a fundamental right. In our country today, peaceful protest cannot happen virtually anywhere in the country. I will try to an example of Abuja. Before now, we used to have unity fountain. Now, the unity fountain used to be the point where people converge to protest and stage their grievances and all of that. But as it is today, the government of the day has fenced off the entire place, and people are made to go away from there. Nobody is allowed to state any kind of protest. The very instance you show any intention to do such, you see that the state agencies, such as the police, or so, will come after you, or you will see a counter protest and hoodlums all over the place would attack such groups. And that is a violation, is an erosion of what you call democracy. Also, I remember the days when the General Sani Abacha days, when we had a number of civil society organizations who stood and spearheaded and led protests, who spearheaded and led agitations here and there. As of today, most of these civil society organizations are being done through registration, through some kind of payment, through some, and all sorts of things. They are being restricted. So also in the area of the media, the media is supposed to be the first estate of the realm, which is supposed to hold government to account on its activities. But as of today, you have what you call the hate speech bill. You had also the sanction that has been put in place by NBC, saying that if you say XYZ, you be supposed to find XYZ. All of those are things that could be lacking to the days of the military. Okay, it doesn't allow for free hearing of opinion, and that is not what a democracy is. If we go to the United States of America as of today, people are still protesting over the wrongful killing of some people. People are protesting over different things. So, and those are fundamental rights in a democracy. And if you don't have this, if you don't have the room for people to express their differences, then you don't have a democracy. What you are having is a little short of a military or a totalitarian regime.
Is there a way that we can say to be sympathetic to government? I'm talking about being sympathetic in terms of what government has. There are so many that he has on his hands to deal with. This administration just didn't come, like that, and it came about. It stood on the rostrum of change, and it said it was going to give Nigerians change. But of course, we're seeing that a lot had happened in the past too, and for this administration to have an overnight success, it will be asking for too much. Can we in any way understand? Of course, government is not staying, is not laying back on what it has to do. It is also on top of the game, but how much of it is doing would be a thing of concern. Can we sympathize in any way with government on how it's handling affairs of the country?
Tony, I would tell you straight up that for somebody like me and for most Nigerians, if you can't get the eat in the kitchen, then go out of the kitchen. As simple as that. You see, in governance, before you get here, you told us that you fix things. Why did this government come into place in the first instance? I'm talking about the present government, the Buhari regime. How did it get into power? It got into power as a result of the fact that Nigerians were insecure. Nigerians felt that the security situation was that bad, and they felt that they needed somebody to come out and fix the situation. And now, 5 years down the line, the security situation has worsened. Before now, it used to be the Northeast only. Now you have the entire Northwest is covered. Bandits are all over the place. We are living everywhere. If any state is safe in the Northwest, maybe Kano State. All other states, talk of Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Kawuna, all of them are ravaged by insecurity of one sort or the other. Go to the Middle Belt, Kogi State, Benue State, Adamawa, and Taraba. All of these states are plagued by one form of insecurity or the other also. So it means that the pilot, one of the pilots upon which this government came into power, is not fulfilled in 5 years. As of today, you cannot drive safely from one point in this country to the other. Just yesterday, it was in the news that a DSS staff agent was murdered in Katsina State. In Katsina State, not outside, not the outskirts, right in the capital. He was kidnapped and later murdered. Now, how do you explain such level of insecurity? You cannot travel between Abuja and Lokoja and not go to say Thanksgiving when you come back. You can't go between, just some few days ago, some bandits invaded Abuja, invaded the Kingdom Magic in suburb in Abuja, and they operated for close to 4 hours. without any response coming until after they have nothing to do before the police came to intervene. So it tells you that there are fundamental flaws on the part of this government. I think for me, it's not about sympathy. It's about, do you know what you are supposed to do? If you know what you are supposed to do, get the job done. If you don't know what you have to do, then get experts who know to help you do it. If you can't get experts, then quit the kitchen and let other people come in and fix the problem.
Okay, we're getting that. Honorable, let's get to our audience now. Get to hear them too on this matter. We're talking about the state of the nation, and of course, what we're going through. Can we have quick fixes to the problems of Nigeria, and finding solutions to them? Numbers to call to be part of this program: 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989. Or 070-87-800-989, 070-87-800-989. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Alabi.
Good morning.
Chief Amuto Kogun is on the line.
All right, Chief.
Good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Mr. Alabi, God bless you this morning for bringing this type of people in your program. Then I give kudos to him. Mr. Alabi, it is true to need to be told to us. You see, we have been this.
Hello, Chief. Oh, okay. We hope you call back. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Tony Larabi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Honestly, I bless you for bringing this type of people into the program.
Your name, please.
I'm Elder Eric.
Elder Eric, okay.
Honestly speaking, your guests have spoken so well. If you know you cannot do something, give somebody a chance, let him do it. The insecurity in Nigeria now, we cannot just count. Just yesterday, the same thing happened. That just yesterday evening. Nobody. Police were there, but they were just sitting in the air. And when they tell them to do something, they are telling them, okay, come, let's go and follow them. We are ready to go. They say, go up till you come. What type of thing are we having in Nigeria? Some policemen were taken here in Marabarido. They were killed, they paid the ransom, and they were killed. They leave their family and become widows by force, and nobody cares to do anything. Oh my God. I wish Nigeria will turn to be the Nigeria of yesterday, not yesterday tomorrow. Today, honestly speaking, Nigeria has been neglected. If somebody knows he cannot do something, don't give a promise. It's better you just resign and give somebody a chance. Who can do it, let him do it.
Okay, Elder Eric, okay, we got you on that. Say with your one more call, we'll come back to our guest.
Hello. Good morning. My brother, good morning.
Good morning.
Ogunwole on the line.
Ogunwole.
Yes, that man has said everything, truth, nothing but the truth. You know the problem we have in this country, we have division. We are not one. That's the problem we have. Somebody will bring it down, somebody will bring it up. This man came in the name of change. Now it's getting to the world. Let's call it a spade a spade. We are Nigerian, we are born and brought up here. You cannot call black and white for us. We know what's happening. If this government cannot do it, it's not by force. You resign. For no say. At that country are doing it. It's not a family post. Please, the body should resign. Bye bye.
Well, that's all it. We know the processes to go through, and we should go through those processes. And let's take this call and come back to our guest. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Daddy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I'm IC Modu.
Yes, IC Modu. All right, let's hear you.
And at least we welcome your guest, and he spoke very well. This country, we must unite ourselves for any progress. Even though we are divided, we, the same Nigerians, we are begging to unite back. The way our forefathers that we are telling, they are calling their names anyhow, that Sardauna of Sokoto, Katafa Balewa, Nnamdi Azikiwe, all those people unite, and that's why today Nigerian is called Nigerian. But when there is division among us, somebody will do something, they will say because it's from North. That's why they hate him. That is not the truth. If they are incompetent, they are incompetent. Let them change also ever. will be changed so that this country will have peace. That's what we are praying for. That's what we are begging.
Okay.
We should unite ourselves as one. Please, thank you. God bless you.
All right, Madu. Okay, coming back to you, Honorable. Again, coming out from what's coming out from our callers, a lot of anger have been expressed there about the state of the nation and would want, for a better, Nigeria. And Modu is I got him saying that unity, more than any other thing, unity for this country is so much desired at this point.
Oh, yes. Let me commend the callers who have called. It shows that people are concerned, and Nigerians have the right to be very angry about the way the nation is going, because whether we like it or not, a nation of 200 million people, if there is a problem in this country today, there is no other nation that can accommodate us. And that is the more reason why we must find a solution to our problem. Our leaders must, as a matter of urgency, address pressing issues of the country. So, for me, like we have said, there are no quick fixes, but we must, as a people, focus on what are the things that bind us rather than those things that divide us. Our leaders must, as a matter of urgency, bind us more than they divide us, because as of today, our leaders are the ones that are dividing us more in this country. And the common man on the street really does not have any problem with, and also man doesn't have a problem with a Fulani man or a Yoruba man or a King man. It is our leaders that get us tangled in the web of saying this man is this and this man is that. So the earlier we are able to fix all of these problems, the better for us. And the unfortunate part of it is that over the years we achieved some successes, but these successes have been eroded away over time. And I can tell you today, if you take a survey of Nigerians to tell you whether they want to be part of this country or not, most Nigerians will tell you they are tired of what is called Nigeria. And rightfully so, you can't really blame them, because they have waited for so long, they have been asked to be patient for so long, and still they don't get any kind of tangible benefit or outcome. And that is the sad part of the story.
And again, Honorable, I should ask you this. Yes, we see what is happening, and of course, Nigerians too have that right, to ask for the leaders or call for the leaders that they want. What is it that Nigerians? What is it that, in terms of getting leadership? What are the qualities? What are the things that Nigerians must be looking at, especially from all over, when it comes to terms of who takes over the mantle of leadership for us?
Okay, very good question. Now, I would want to maybe make example of my state or your state. When we were in the push into the 2019 election, the leaders there came together and said, look, we cannot continue like this. How do we solve our problem? And then they formed a coalition, they did one or two things, and then that coalition led to the emergence of His Excellency Engineer Seyi in our state. And so far so good, because of the fact that it came in on the mandate of the people. He knows that the people voted in him. Most of his policy have been people-oriented. And until the Nigerian people start to look at people based on what can this person do, not based on sentiment of what language he speaks or what religion he belongs to, if they start to look at, can this person deliver? Can this person take us from this point we are to a better point in the next 1 or 2 years? Those are the things we should be looking at. And on the part of the institutions in this country, I'm talking about the National Assembly and even the executive, the judiciary, there is a need to quickly as possible, amend the electoral law. We need to work on the electoral law to strengthen our electoral processes. Now, our electoral processes improved greatly in the 2015 election. But as of 2019, it has fallen completely. The card readers achieved about 54% usage in 2015. As of 2019, it did not even get up to 19% to 20% usage. So we must entrench some things in our electoral act to ensure that election rigging violence are punished and there are very strong deterrents. We must not allow things that happen in things like Kogi lives were lost in the election to happen in Edo State or to happen in Ondo State. We must not allow our electoral process to become a very violent. Yesterday I was reading, the police are saying they are deploying 31,000 policemen, men and officers for the Edo State election. I asked the question, there are about 2,000 polling units in Edo State. It means if you have 2 policemen each at the polling unit, you are going to have 4,000, and you are deploying 31,000. So it means you are having 27,000 policemen. What are they going to do? They're going to be patrolling the streets of Kogi State. And bearing in mind that it's not just the police that will deploy. The military are going to deploy. The civil defense are going to deploy. And other agencies are going to deploy. We are deploying as if we are going to war for election. We need to perfect our electoral system. I do say that this president, President Muhammadu Buhari, came into power as a result of the amendment, as a result of the upgrading and change in electoral processes and improvement in electoral processes. That was how he got into power. It's the whole of him to improve on what he met and make it better. And anything short of that would be a disservice to this country.
Honorable Ishaq, I'd like to thank you so very much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toyin. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, that has been the program Perspectives with Honorable Ishaq Babatunde Gbadamosi, a politician and a public affairs analyst, sharing thoughts with us about the state of the nation. We'll come back with Perspectives tomorrow. And Ines, thank you for connecting us with the people. And Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures too. Good morning.
Invicta FM.
Assalamu alaikum Hajiya Amina.
Wa alaikum assalam Sharifa. Maraba sannu da zuwa, shigo.
Na gode, wallahi Hajiya da alamar kina cin lafiyayyen abinci.
Me kika gani?
Ke da ƴaƴanki sai ƙara ƙyalli kuke yi.
Kai Sharifa, kina da ban dariya. To amma ai tunda muka fara cin sabuwar pakitin Golden Mon na Wazobia ne.
Golden Mon a cikin pakitin Wazo?
Haka ne yar uwata.
Abu Hajiya, bari ni da iyali na mu ma mu mori lafiyayyen abincin mu na.
Golden Mon, ya sanya kowace rana ta kasance da armashi.
I can't seem to